All right, Mr. Derek Ross. So we are here.
We are
Um,
here.
the crazy thing is, Derek, this is gonna be like a first for me
Yeah.
because we literally just connected as Facebook friends, and
Yeah.
you was
Yeah,
like, "Yo,
literally, right?
I literally want to be a part of this, the interview. You could like interview me." And so, this is the first because you have no idea who the heck I am.
No.
Um, and I purposely didn't do any research on you because I want you to tell me about yourself in a sense of me asking questions. So
Got
we're
it.
just
Got
gonna
it.
have
Yeah.
fun. We're gonna freestyle. So how this goes is this is like the opportunities for you to tell other people about yourself, but it's
Hmm.
like talking to a person. So I'm gonna ask questions, but I'm not gonna assume anything about you. I don't know anything about you. You get to tell me, yo, you can be like, yo, I'm a millionaire. Like, hey, I won't be able to confirm or deny because I know nothing about you. So all I can do is believe off of what you tell me and how genuine
Yeah.
you are.
No, no.
So,
Hey, that's the best way to be, right? Just
yep,
transparent, genuine, and just let it flow. So,
there we go. So we're gonna have fun. You ready?
yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right, Derek. So what do you do for a living right now? Like what is it that you do for a living?
So right now, I have my own agency. So it's called the D Squared Group. It's a branding PR marketing agency. And so what I do is I focus on helping brands to amplify their voice, to strengthen and enhance their messaging, to help them really create their brand story in order to amplify their voice so they can attract, consistent clients, consistent leads and opportunities, really to help them generate more business and more business opportunities for their brand. So that's what I do on the business side. But then I'm a mindset business coach. So I help people get their minds right because a lot of times from a personal brand perspective, that's the thing that gets in the way of
True.
us moving and going after the thing that we want to do to enhance our life, to get that vision that we have for ourselves. And so after I went through my little mindset journey, I was like, you know what, this is definitely a piece that I want to bring towards people because now that I've gone through it, I can share some bits and pieces and just really help people kind of get that foundation right.
Boom. Like, yo, I'm loving this interview already because we're gonna get juicy, baby. Like
Hey, we can go. Yeah.
right. So, see, the thing is, I love listening to people, man. I love great stories. And obviously I heard that you have a story just because you said I went through bits and pieces of my mindset journey.
Uh-huh.
So, like, all right, we about to get into it. So
Hey.
one, I was like, how did he transition into okay, knowing all right, he wants to start a business. I don't know if he was raised around that or what.
Uh-huh.
But then there's a background story. It's like you took what you've been through and said,
Hmm.
I see this as a need for other people to be helped in this area, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it. So let's start with the start. Let's start with the story. Like, give me the most impactful thing that happened, or I know there's multiple, because I'm
Yeah,
feeling it.
right.
I'm feeling it.
um, it's interesting because I can remember being on the concrete steps at my grandma's house as about like a 7 or 8 year old. I don't know what 7 or 8 year old thinks like this, but I was looking up and I could remember thinking like, what am I going to be like when I'm 18, when I'm free, when I can make my own decisions? And I could only fathom that I probably got in trouble or got mad at something. And so I was on the steps kind of pouting and wanting to be grown and wanting to do my own thing and not listen to nobody anymore. So that's the only thing that I could think that would trigger that thought. And I remember thinking, you know what, I want to be a CEO because I want to run my own, because I want to say what I need to say. I want to be able to control and be able to be in charge, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so fast forward, I was a student athlete in college. I got a scholarship to go to college at UNC Charlotte.
Okay.
And while I was there, that was like my dream. Like that's one of my dreams. Like, so getting that scholarship to college, got the scholarship, and I got injured my senior year.
Mm.
And so I had a decision to make. Do I try to get healthy and try to finish out, this dream, or has this dream now come to an end and it's time for me to shift?
Oh.
So I made a decision to say, you know what, track has done its part, and now it's time for me to transition to what I want to do after track. And so that was a whole little thing in and of itself, like, going to my coach and thinking that they were going to be, upset with me or felt like I let them down because now I'm going to, transition out of this. But they were like, yo, we support you. We love you. Like, you'll always be a part of the team. So like literally the last semester of my senior year, I left the track team so I could focus on finishing up and preparing myself for that next journey.
Gotcha.
So yeah. So that's kind of how I ended up, really, that was the first step of my mindset stage.
All right.
And so, the power of connection, right? So my mom's best friend, boyfriend, worked for an agency in Raleigh. And I didn't know at the time, but they were looking for somebody to run this mobile marketing tour for the CIAA. So for those who don't know, the CIAA is the Central Intercollegiate Athletic Association, third largest basketball tournament in the NCAA, et cetera, et cetera. And so I was applying for jobs. I had an internship with the Bobcats, who they're now the Hornets in Charlotte, the NBA team. Hated it. It was good to start with, but I got to a point where I remember on the second part of my internship, standing up and seeing a sea of cubicles. And it was so many people. And I'm like, I'm just one person in the sea of cubicle. That wasn't what I wanted my career to be. I didn't want to be in a place where I was just another number. I wanted something more intimate. And so I interviewed and I was like, no, I'm not taking just any job. I had a lot of sales interview jobs. I don't want that. And he hit me up. He was like, Derek, I heard you're graduating. You have a marketing degree. We're looking for somebody. Are you interested? Yeah, sure. And so that was my dream job. I didn't know it was my dream.
I was about to say,
it was my dream job. But I remember praying. I was like, God, I want a company car. I want a company credit card. I want to travel. I want to go to events. Man, when I say that job was all of that, like here I am, 21, straight out of college, company car, company credit card, driving a CIAA truck. So I had our own company car, CIAA mobile marketing truck to different events to do grassroots marketing for the CIAA. Flyers, going to concerts. Literally street teaming. It wasn't a full-time job. It was actually a contract position.
Okay.
So I was making $1,500 a month. And I negotiated that, right? They were trying to offer me $1,200. I was like, no, let me do 15. So got 15, but it was just one of those things where I was like, everything that I had my mindset on, it was starting to come. So I was like, I was bold, brave, all this stuff. So, did a great job. I was hustling, grinding, people don't like the word hustle or grind, but really it was a hustle because I was working for a PR agency. I didn't have a PR background. Mm-hmm. But they were looking to build in marketing. This was back in 2005 when PR agencies were now starting to weave in marketing into their services. Okay. And so this was like their opportunity for this big client to weave in somebody who has marketing experience and build that. So moved up the ladder, got promoted every year, ended up being account supervisor by the time I was 25, running the entire account by myself. I had a boss, but running this, this 6-figure account at 25. And I'll never forget the guy that hired me. We were at an event. He had left the company, met him at an event, catching up at the elevator, asked me, how things were going. I had just got a promotion, so I'm feeling myself. And, I'm excited. And he says, well, how much are you making? So I tell him, and he was like, well, if you were working at my agency, you'll be making $75,000 a year doing that same role. That was $35,000 more than what I was making.
Mm-hmm. So you got to start to thinking like,
man, because I was doing everything. So I was like, hold up. So if I can make that much somewhere else, like how much more could I make if I started my own company? Like how much more if I could make if all I needed was a creative designer? Yep. That's literally all I needed because I was doing everything else. And so my mind started, going. I started thinking, I was like, okay, how can I leverage this? So I went back to grad school. I felt like I needed that extra thing. So went back to grad school
for yourself.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, let me add this to it. So I worked there full time, went back, got my MBA, thinking that I still needed more, right? Mm-hmm. I was like, you know what? Let me hold off on starting a company. Let me try to land a 6-figure job. I'm chasing the money now, right? I applied for jobs. Got no's. At this point, I had already left the company. Things had started going crazy. things started shifting. It was time for me to leave. I had saved up money, so I didn't just jump, people. I saved up my money. And so I had a plan. So I saved up my money, had a plan. It was enough to cover me for 6 months. And I started applying for jobs, and I was getting no's. And, you know, that's a part of the job process. Okay, cool. More applications, more no's. So at this point, I'm thinking, did I make the right move? Should I stay where I was? And it came to a point where I hit rock bottom. I had no jobs. I had pretty much no money. I was working part-time job at the gym, making about maybe $9 an hour compared to the 6 figures that I'm trying to get. Like, that's a far stretch, right?
Yes, sir.
So,
especially when you built your lifestyle off of having that income coming in, and then
having it.
I've been there.
And being on top, like literally, I'm in magazines. I'm rubbing elbows. So here I am from a dream job to a part-time job. Like, yo, what did I just do? Right. And so I remember being at mom's house. I was living at home, and I just got another email saying, you know, sorry, we hired somebody internally, you know, we'll keep you. And I remember just like falling on my knees in tears because I was so frustrated. Like, it was so much pressure, and I'm just thinking, like, what are people gonna think about me? And I remember praying, like, you know, God, like, what do you want me to do? Because I was trying to control everything up to that point, right? And I distinctly heard, you know, him say, like, do it for yourself. You're trying to take all these skills, this experience, this degree, and work for somebody else. Why not work for yourself? And I brushed it off like, that's not the answer. Like, let me pray again. That's not the answer. And literally, when I was like, okay, I'm gonna give this a try, I lied to you not. Well, first I had to appreciate what I had first. That's the first lesson that I had to learn. So I started showing back to my part-time job up on time, started going, playing full out. And as soon as I made that shift, I got a call literally 2 weeks later from a guy that I used to do some work with the CIAA. He worked for Sister to Sister magazine. Shout out to Terrence. And he was like, yo, D, we have a consulting opportunity. The only person I could think about was you. Are you interested? And that was my first taste of entrepreneurship. That was my first individual contract.
Nice.
And it was enough to pay my bills for the next month that I needed, like right on time.
Giving you
some time. And so I prayed. I wanted to work in New York when I was doing all these job applications. This position was in New York for about a week and a half. So I got my little taste of New York. So like everything that I was praying for, I prayed years ago. I said, I want to work with Sister to Sister. Everything that I had put out verbally was starting to manifest.
All right.
And then that's when I started to pay attention to, like, yo, everything that I've asked for, even though it didn't come at that time, it came at the time that I needed when I was prepared for it.
Correct.
So got that job. And then, you know, that contract was up. So now I'm like, okay, what's next? And when I worked at the agency, I did media buys. So I was in charge of media buying. So I had a rep at Radio 1 Raleigh, and she hit me up. She was like, yo, D, I'm about to make the move to DC. My boss wants me to replace myself. I couldn't think about nobody but you. You would be perfect. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do no sales. And she was like, it's kind of like owning your own business. It's like you have your own client list, you're serving them. And I'm like, okay, all right. Well, you know, if you put it that way, then let me try it out. I went in, interviewed, and literally they hired me like within a week. She was like, that's the fastest they've ever hired anybody. They gave me a year-long guarantee, which was enough money to keep me steady for a year. I didn't have to worry about commission, none of that stuff. I can just, you know, focus build, all that other stuff. So around the same time, the CIAA came to me. And, you know, I was no longer working at the agency. They were looking for somebody to hire to do marketing internally.
Okay.
And I couldn't take the job. Like, we had gotten down to a salary because I had a non-compete. So I had to wait for my non-compete was up. Once my non-compete was up, there was another year because they were about to fire the agency. So the agency was like, well, you can't hire anybody that used to work for us or work on this account that used to work under us. So then they had another non-compete. So I had to wait 2 years.
Man.
So this is in the second year when I got this job at Radio 1 of this non-compete. And right when but I was working on my business. I had my website. I was doing all the stuff on the back end. I was prepared. I didn't know what for what at the time. came back around. So the guarantee had just was like 2 months from being up. The non-compete had just ended, and I get a call from my contact at CIAA, and he's like, "Yo, D, are you still interested in doing marketing?" Yeah. He's like, "Well, we're not looking for a person. We're looking for an agency. Are you interested?" Yeah, I'm interested, right? So they sent me the RFP. I'm prepared. I'm ready. So they sent me the RFP. And I mean, literally everything that I have ever experienced. I used to work on RFPs with the other agency and landing clients there. So I went to Panera Bread after work, worked on that RFP, reached out to people I used to work with, got my samples, got all this other stuff, sent it to CIAA. I made the cut to, I think it was like top 4 or 5. I went to present in Charlotte to them, and it was just me in front of them. And I just knew what I knew. I knew I knew I had it because I just knew it so well. And so I presented. I remember leaving, and they were supposed to let everybody know within a week, like who got the job. I got home the next day and I got a call, and they were like, "Got the contract." So I landed my first 6-figure contract under my business. But it took, I tell people like that, it wasn't like overnight. It took
right. The step, the building blocks
to get there. And so that's how I ended up running my company and starting my company. I started my company with that account.
The beautiful thing is, man, that you mentioned, like, you've worked yourself into entrepreneurship. It's not like a transition for you, like in a sense of like some people, they'll work like, let's just say they work in retail, right? They work at a store, and then they like, oh, somebody comes up from an MLM, and then they walk up to them and then like, hey, you want to run your own business? And they're like, yeah, like heck yeah. And then they go to the meeting or whatever it may be, and then they're like, I'm gonna become an entrepreneur. Yeah. No, you're gonna become self-employed. Like entrepreneurship is totally different than just running a MLM. Yeah. There's no system. Like you got to build everything. You got to come up with the creative ideas, find your team, find out what you need. Like MLMs serve their purpose of getting you to the baby steps, like the introduction to entrepreneurship, but that's not entrepreneurship in itself. Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize that. So like, you telling your story of the steps that you took, like even to going back to school, like some people from entrepreneurship, like, oh, you don't need school or whatever. No, like you need to be a lifelong learner. You need to pick up skills. Skills pay bills, and they also help you present in front of people to earn contracts.
Yes, sir. Skills builds bills, right?
Confidence. It builds the confidence, like because you had the knowledge, the skills, the experience, right? And you could package all together and present it and tell somebody, look, this is why you need me. Yeah. Then a person was like, okay, I'm gonna take the chance. Because he presented it so well, and I could see myself resonating in their system of what they built. So, very much so kudos to you, because you have a true entrepreneurship marketing agency and PR, branding, whatever you like, whatever you want to put into it, right?
Right.
It truly exists. And, I'm happy for you.
I appreciate
and then even on the coaching side, like to take what you've learned and then say, hey, who else is coming behind me? I can give back to this person and help them go through the necessary steps, because I'm not speaking from something I read in a book. It's something that I've experienced. Yes, and sir. I love that.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks.
You're welcome. I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about this? Right. So I remember when one of my employees, they told me something that changed my life. Right? He says, you could be anything. He said, I hate it when parents tell their children they could be anything they want to be.
Right.
And I said, whoa, what? Like, why? He's like, it's not true. Do you think that's true or false? What do you think?
I think you want to give kids the hope, right? I don't think you kill their dreams by saying, no, they can't be anything that they want to be. Because that word is so all encompassing of so many different things, it doesn't mean that they're going to think they can do every single thing. It's going to be the thing that pops up into their heads about what they want to do and what they feel they can do. And they need to have that hope there for when that happens. Because if that does not happen, or you say, no, you can't be everything you want to be, then whatever thoughts that cross their heads about what they want to be, they're automatically discouraged from it.
Yep. And little mental block.
A little mental block. So I definitely think it's important to still support that vision and that dream and that hope, because, just because it's something that, if they want to be a ballet dancer and they have no dancing skills, I mean, okay, right. They're probably not even going to consider that because they know they can't dance.
Yep.
But it leaves it open for when they do find that thing, it's still a possibility.
Yep. And so this is how he finished it off, right? And that's a great answer. He said, you can only be what you prepare to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, ooh.
That's good. Yeah.
I heard you. So
that's real good.
As I listened to your whole story, right, I heard all the preparation steps. You had manifested what you prepared to be. You wrote it down. And even if it was the most babyest step ever, right? Like you said, street teams, that means going out, talking to people and handing out flyers and connecting, representing. Like you were doing everything that you could possibly do to put yourself in a predicament to land a contract, to gain a skill. Some people just sit there and they just like, whatever it may be, like, this is just going to come to me. It's just going to happen. And it's like, I don't need to do anything. No, you still got to have some type of movement so that thing can hit you when you're on your way. Like for me, I started doing these interviews literally, I think it was Saturday. I've knocked out about 10 so far.
Oh, that's dope.
And like every single person has stopped and was like, oh, snaps. Like these are good questions, or I didn't think I would open up, or I didn't think I would share. Like, so another question for you.
Yeah.
What the heck made you want to come on to this? Like, what made you say, look, I don't even know this dude, but I'm about to like, just give it a shot, like, and talk. Why?
I think one of the things that I always talk about, because you have to practice what you preach. So one of the things, that I always talk about is the power of your story and how your story connects you to people. And even for me, even if it doesn't, again, I try to think about the people I'm called to serve. I have a story for a reason. And so if I sit on it, if I don't share it, then how can it impact others? Like stories that I've heard has impacted me.
Yep.
And so for me, it's kind of like, I was looking at, your page. And then I think one of the friends that I'm friends with,
David.
David. Yeah. David. And I was like, yo. And so I'm very familiar with David. So I was like, yo, David's like, so instantly that brand association, right?
Yep.
So I was like, well, yo, let me just throw my name in the hat. And then, I'm always about supporting one another. So if there's an ask, then, hey, if you're asking, then, hey, I have a story. Hey, let me, if I can support you, if I can share it, then it helps somebody, And so that's kind of why I took that step, because I'm always preaching and telling people about the importance of telling the story. So if I don't step into and show them through execution and action, then how can they then listen to what I'm saying and then say, okay, well, you ain't never shared your story, so why are you telling us to share ours? So.
And that's true, man. Like, I wanted to give people a platform that actually allowed them to share their story, because it's one of those things that kind of goes often overlooked. Your family doesn't really ask you your story. Your friends don't really ask you your story, because they're like, yeah, I've been here. Like, I've been a part of your life. So, jobs, they don't care about your story. They're like, more like, what can you do for me?
For us, right.
Like, we trying to make this money, right? And so it's like, how often do you get to tell your story? So let me ask you this, business aside, coaching aside, right? Because I know you get to tell your story on those aspects, but like, how often do you get to have intimate conversations? For me, I think you have these conversations more often than anybody, but if you surprisingly tell me different, it's going to shock me. Because as a coach, like, that's pretty much, I think you're going to have intimate conversations. But like, how often do you have intimate conversations?
All the time. It's all the time.
You ain't shocked me there, because I was like, I hope you have intimate conversations.
Yeah, all the time. It's interesting because I went through, I have a storytelling coach, because even though I do PR and stuff of that nature, I had to get I had to get better telling my story so I can get it and engage people. And so shout out to Andy Henriquez. He's a master storyteller. So I did his academy and just really, helping me to kind of get the story out of my head, because I have a lot of stories that tie to different things, but it really helped me to be able to break down and really share it in a way that was impactful to people. Because a lot of times you can go on and run on, and then you lose people in the story and you never make the connection that you were intended to make.
Correct.
So, and so I knew I needed that, right? The whole constantly learning. I knew I needed that aspect. I knew I wanted to increase my ability to be more effective. And so, yeah, I invested in myself and did that. And so that made me start to tell my story even more, because now I had a structure. Now I had a better understanding of how to deliver it in a way that was more impactful and empowering. And so, yeah.
Yep. No, that's good. That's really good. You just actually made more questions pop up in my mind. You said it. You invested in yourself. I mean, not many people actually do that nowadays, or are starting to do it, which is beautiful. But how come you didn't feel you had everything you needed and you could get it through a book? Like, why invest in a coach? Like, why have somebody tell you what to do? Like, I don't understand that. You want to be the big boss. Like,
right.
The boss doesn't get other people to tell him what to do. What's up with that?
Well, it's when you think about it, every great person has had a mentor, like Oprah, Maya Angelou, right? And so for me, I just knew that there were places I wanted to go that I wasn't there yet. And I knew that there were people who were there, and I just needed to identify who I needed to connect with and could align with to help get me there. And so, when I flash back to my business, here I had this 6-figure business, and like hit year 3, year 4, I was miserable. I was unhappy. Here's my quote unquote dream business, right? And I'll go from a dream job to a dream business, an entrepreneur, and I'm miserable. I'm unhappy, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And I tried to do all the work myself. I was in here trying to figure out, I was trying to pray it away. And it was like, that's not it. I had to take action. And so I realized that the answer was outside of me, because I wasn't being able to solve it. Here I'm going on year 2 of this, kind of depression and frustration, and I'm still delivering, but I'm stressed. I'm working all the time. And so I was like, yo, I gotta step out there and find a different tribe, find some other people who are where I want to be, or who's going where I'm trying to go. And it started off like that. I went to a conference and met this Allison Bird. She was like my first real mentor. Met her at a conference by Dr. George Fraser.
George C. Fraser.
George C. Fraser, yeah. Yep. And I met him with Dr. Dennis Kimbrough at a CIAA event. It's like everything connected. So the CIAA event connected me with them, which and I went to Dr. George C. Fraser's event in Maryland, met Allison there, and then that's what began that whole onboarding of mentors, and it shifted me. It just shifted. And from there, I was like, okay, there's another side to this business that agency life and all this other stuff didn't teach me.
Yep.
And I was like, yo, I need to learn this side, because there is a whole different side that people don't see to coaching and personal development and conference. It's just, man, I mean, I've done national campaigns. I've done it all on this side, but there's a whole nother side that I was like, yo, this is crazy. But it started with my mindset, and that's where I was broken. And that's where I needed to kind of repair. So
that's good stuff. So 2 things that came up to my mind, and I'm going to go one by one, but one is the depression and frustration. And you mentioned crying earlier. So you're a male who cried. What the heck is up with that? Men cry?
Yeah. I was here and I tell people all the time, like, it's like, there's a lot of pressure on us, on men. Not that it's not pressure on anybody else, but there's a lot of pressure, and especially, like, I'm the only child. So I'm thinking about taking care of mom. I'm thinking about preparing. I'm thinking about all these different things. And here I am, I have this business, and I'm trying to save everybody, right? I got a team, and I'm like, but then I'm chasing money, and I'm not fulfilled, right? I'm getting contracts, but I'm not fulfilled, and I'm not happy. And I'm just trying to figure out, and, and then I find myself, not being me. So I find myself allowing that stress and that depression stuff change my character. So now I'm shorter with people. I'm not appreciative of people. I am, cutting people off. I'm short, and it's not me. And then that is adding to it because now people are coming off and thinking that I'm mean, and it was just a whole thing. And I was like, yo, something has to change. And so I remember the pressure builds up so much that sometimes, I always say crying is a release of something external that's building up inside. Whether it's sadness, whether it's anger, whether it's frustration, tears are usually a result of some type of pressure that's built up, and that's a way of release. And that was my release. Sometimes it was sad tears, sometimes it was stress tears, sometimes it was angry tears. It was, and then sometimes, when I started getting into like the mindset work and going and having my mentors, it was then vulnerability tears, like finally a release and a freedom kind of tears, like, yo, I found my outlet. So, yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. And so I'm guessing you would say environment is really important because you said you found mentors and stuff like that. Like, was it hard for you to find these people that you could connect with and like the company that you would say want to keep?
Initially, here's the thing, right? It's like, so when I wasn't looking, it was hard to find because my mind was only focused on what was in front of me. And so, but when I decided that, okay, I needed something, that's when my eyes were open to what was already around me that I wasn't seeing.
Okay. Yep.
And so once I decided that, I need help, I need a mentor, and I was getting more clear on what I needed, right? I need support. I need inspiration. I need whatever that was I needed. I didn't have to be super, super detailed with it to start with. I just need
an idea of what it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people, we get caught up in thinking that we need to know the specifics. No, I just need to start with what I know. And what I know is I need this. As soon as I started, it's like, that's when I ran into the whole George Frazier and all the other stuff. And it was like his conference. And I was just like, man, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to pay the money to go to that. Like, I don't want to be around people not knowing that what I needed was there. And just saying, okay, well, maybe this is the step. And I think TD Jake said, it's like, sometimes it's like, well, what if this doesn't work out? Well, maybe it's the thing that leads to the thing. And it was the thing that led to the thing. But we have to take the step and just hope and trust that whatever step we take is going to lead us to that next thing. And so that's really what started me to open up to say, okay, let me find out who I need. And then once I got there, not being afraid to ask.
Nope.
I think we get caught up.
That's a fear.
Yeah.
That is a legit fear because you like it. Sometimes you're so embarrassed to be, like you said, vulnerable. Or you like, yo, I don't know what I need or whatever. And it's like, what can this person say? It's kind of like being rejected when you try and go for a relationship and you're like, oh snaps, like this person could say no and turn me down. Like, I'm nervous.
and that was a fear. That was a fear. And the way I push past it, and it might not be a way other people do it, but I would challenge you to try it, is I was at the conference and Allison had called some people up to be vulnerable and share what they were there for. And I remember I'm like one of 2 or 3 men there, a whole bunch of women. It's like 100 and some people there. And I go up to the mic and I share. And I said, you know what? I said that I was going to be more vulnerable and open up and share because I don't know what I need, but I know that it's something here and something in this collective. And so I shared a part of my story then and there. Never had done that before. But what it it broke that barrier of me thinking that, oh, people are going to say this and say that. And I had so much support. Like people were like, oh my God, that's me. And it began to shift that thinking. And I'm like, yo, so what I was afraid of, I really didn't need to be afraid of. Right. And so pushing myself to do something that I was uncomfortable with led to the breaking and the breaking down of those walls and barriers, which then I started doing more of it and just kept shifting and growing. And then before I knew it, I was like, shoot, I'll tell my story. Right. So,
Yep. And the comfortability. So, that's really good. Cause like, for me, I could say I'm a great sidekick, Like, everybody thinks I'm Batman, but I like being the sidekick. Like when somebody tells me to do something, I'm like, all right, I'm in it. Right. So somebody gave you the opportunity to say, hey, come share your story. Like, and you was like, I'm gonna be more vulnerable. Like that would have been
Yeah.
my sidekick move. Like it's like Batman telling me, come be more vulnerable. And I'm going up to go on the stage. I would have did that after. Would I would have done it without somebody saying that? Heck no. Heck no. Because it's like that external force to say, look, I'm calling you, recognize the sign, come up and do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's good. You have a relationship with God. You're recognizing all the opportunities he's presenting in front of you, and you're stepping up to the calling. I heard you mention that you were, an only child, and you mentioned a mom, no dad. So does that mean single parent household?
So I grew up as an only child, but my dad, so I have two dads. My dad that I grew up with, I have an older sister and a younger brother and younger sister. But I didn't meet them until later in life. I didn't meet my oldest sister until I was in middle school. But I grew up as an only child.
Right.
I thought I was an only child until I was 13 or whatever. And then on my biological dad's side, who I didn't meet, and that's a whole other story, who I didn't meet until I was 34. I didn't find out and meet until I was 34. I have an older sister and two younger brothers.
Got you. So
now I have siblings. Growing up not having siblings, now I have siblings in two family dynamics, and so now I'm breaking through this whole engagement piece, because I didn't have like what normal people who would have brothers and sisters that they grew up with would have that relationship. So it was building a foundation with them that I didn't have. Now I have cousins I grew up with that are like siblings, but breaking through that and really engaging my siblings as my siblings from that perspective. Yeah.
Yep.
But I grew up on and off, like because my mom and dad were never married. So, at times it would be just single. At times he would be there, at times he wouldn't be. And so it was just kind of like this back and forth. But for the most part, he was there for the most part when I got older, for certain sports, education, he was a bit stickler on that. And so he was always present in those moments and things of that nature. But really, when I think about it, as far as like the support and the discipline when it came to like the personality that I have, my mom.
Oh, your mom.
My mom, yeah.
With that being said, like you were okay with letting your dad back in, like no problems, no issues or anything like that? Like,
well, it wasn't a problem because because it was a thing that I didn't know. He didn't know. It was like we didn't know. And so when it was revealed, it was just kind of like he immediately stepped in and was like, yo, like, hey, I want to be in your life. Like, how do we connect? And so he was very in agreement with trying to make things work. Like he wasn't kind of like, oh, well, I don't know you, or, oh, it's been 33 years. It was just kind of like, he's been pushing it like, hey, would love to see you, would love to meet you, would love to talk to you. And so that's made that piece a lot better and comfortable to start building that relationship as well.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
So on the aspect of, money not being fulfilling, so a lot of people are chasing money because money is a powerful thing. I'm not going to deny it. Not going to deny it. A lot of people believe in it. So when you believe in it so much so that you allow it to run your life, if you don't have a lot of it, and dictate how happy you can be, let me ask you, like, what do you mean you made six figures and wasn't fulfilled? I don't understand this.
It paid the bills. It provided the lifestyle and things of that nature, but I didn't have no peace. I didn't have no peace because I was always working. Peace to me is being able to do work that I love, to make the impact that I want to make, to see the transformation in the people's lives that I'm working with, whether the business, to be able to sow back into, to inspire, to celebrate, to empower others. And I wasn't really seeing that, and the CNW does great work, right? But my job was really big picture. It was national media buys. It was selling tickets. It was selling hotels. It was, and even though the money that they generate goes to scholarships, I really wasn't able to work with the student athletes in the aspect of, highlighting their stories. Like that's where I want to be. And I want to be in with the people. I want to see the direct impact. And that was glamorous and it was great opportunities and exposure. And, it's a historical brand, great brand. But for me, I wasn't personally fulfilled. And and I tell people all the time, with money comes more responsibility. So when
True.
you ask for that more, that 15K retainer a month, or, or whatever, then there's a lot of things that come with that. Right. And so, people think about the money, but they don't think about the thing that comes with the money. Right. And so for me, we were chasing money, and then things weren't fulfilling. Like, I had other clients too that were really fun clients to work with. But it was just come to a point where I was so stressed and stretched, and just, and then it was the dynamic in the team wasn't right anymore, because, it wasn't in alignment with what I wanted and why I started the company. And so things were just all misaligned. And so I was just like, yo, so I really, we didn't renew the contract in this past June. And I can say I've never been at more peace. I've never been at more peace.
Well, that's dope.
I was so busy that I couldn't focus on the reason why I started the business, and why the reason the business was started, because I said I wanted to start an internship program. I want to go speaking. I want to share. I was so busy I couldn't do none of that stuff. I couldn't start even my own brand. I couldn't do the things I'm doing now had I still had that client.
Oh, so, no, that's good. And like coming to that realization that, so a lot of people, they do chase money, but guess what? At the end of the day, we just want to do what we love to do and have fun.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah.
You mentioned your relationship with God a lot, which is beautiful. A lot of people don't know what the relationship looks like. Mine, went through a full transition, like different stages. At first, I didn't believe in God because I wasn't raised in the church and stuff, but I was raised with values, but I just didn't know God. But he knew me, but I didn't know him.
Yeah.
And then, I had the success and everything, and all that money, job, car, all that stuff. Right. And then I realized, I was like, yo, like, I have everything that everybody else says is success.
Right.
And, the best thing ever. And I was like, I could travel. And I was just like, I'm not happy. Like, I don't feel happy. Like, I still feel like something's missing. And what was missing for me was God, like, most definitely.
Yeah.
And, my relationship with God started by me getting on my knees, crying, and saying, I don't know. Like, what am I missing?
Yeah.
God definitely showed up into my life. And from there, my life went on a complete roller coaster. It was many ups.
Yes,
many
yes, sir.
Many ups.
Yes, sir.
Many downs. I love me excitement, man. I can definitely say I love excitement. And God helped me write like the best story ever. It's still continuing on with a lot of excitement. Because it's just like 2018, bro, like starting a business, and it was going successful 2017 and prior to, and I just had so much going on in my life, and then it just came crashing down. Crashing down, like you said, rock bottom. And it's I'm gonna ask you, right?
Yeah.
To pick yourself back up when you hit rock bottom. How do you do it?
Smack. It's funny because I'm coming out of that for a second time now.
Hallelujah. I'm here. Same here.
Yeah.
Same here.
For it's like, I came out, business, mindset, contract. Now I'm down here. Now I'm coming back out. And the difference this time than the first time, like you said, I knew God, but I didn't really know God. Like they said, you don't know God until you have all you can rely on is God, right?
Yes. Yes.
and the only thing that kept me was like remembering what he already brought me through.
Yep.
And even though this one wasn't as bad as that one, it was a different level of, this one was a more of now I gave you what you wanted and what you prayed for, your own business and things of that nature. But now I need you to do with it what I want you to do with it and not what you've been doing with it. And so it was a whole different lesson, but I had to go back through that to come out of that as well. And I mean, remembering what he's done, I tell my clients this, and I tell even my friends, like create I call it a he ready, she ready list, right? But create a list of everything that you've accomplished, right? Everything that you've accomplished, but also everything that you've overcome, because we can forget what we've overcome. because we're in the moment of trying to get that next thing. And that when something comes up, all we're doing is repeating a lesson that we already learned. But we're so out of it that we can't remember that, oh God, oh, that one was very similar. Oh, he already did. Hey, I got this, right? So it's really reminding yourself of what you've come through and what you've already done. Because I said this the other day, I was like, new, but not new to this. It may be a new situation, but I'm not new to that type of stress and pressure. I know how to handle this. I see what this is. All right, cool. I got it. And so that was the main thing, remembering him and always keeping him first, but then also having the right people around you.
Yep.
Because if you don't have people that's pushing you and cheering you,
yep.
Yeah. So I had to get rid of friendships. I had to cut people off. I had to make room for other people to come in. And it's been that push and pull. But I would say now I'm at peace. I got right people around me. I'm just like, I feel good and I know that I'm heading up. So it's just kind of like, that's what I would share, like, the right people, but also remember where God has brought you from. And it will always, like, when I look back over these past 6 months, I didn't have the financials coming in like that, but every month my bills were paid.
Yep.
Every month, everything. I didn't know how they were being paid. I look back now and I'm like, I didn't really have no check that month. So how did that? But it was like, he provided. And so that kind of trust and that kind of, building that faith even in the time of being in the valley, right? One of my friends said this, it's like, we're talking about the lily in the valley. And it's like, it's a lily in the valley. The lily was not supposed to be in the valley. It was one lily in the valley, in this terrain, and it was still blossoming. It was still flourishing. And I think about myself sometimes, like, even in the valley, God is still providing. I can still shine in that moment and still, let him to use me to get the glory. Because how is this lily in this valley?
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Nah, that's good stuff. That's good stuff, man. So, like, this is encouraging stuff because not a lot of people would think that others go through depression. Like, you feel like you're going through it all alone.
Mm-hmm.
The problems you're having are just for you to experience. Like, like when I was going through depression last year, so I'll give you a little bit. So 2015 is when I was high man in PepsiCo, like, man, we're killing the game with a job, right? Like, just feeling good, like moving up in the company, everything. Like you said, fastest person ever hired, all that stuff. And just killing it. Moved to Atlanta, was working there, and then stuff started going crazy. Like, and God was telling me, I don't want you here.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, like, but Batman, right? Remember I said I'm Robin, like, until I get the move to go, like, you got to tell me to go, then I'm going to go. So he was like, I'm going to tell you to go, but I'm going to do it in a drastic way. So my job fired me. They forced resign me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere. Georgia is one of those states where they could say, yeah, we don't like the way you blink, and you are now not allowed to work. So right to work state, at will combination. And then like, I was buying a house, and the house, before it was closed on, they was like, nope.
Oh, wow.
We're not letting you get this house because your neighbors aren't paying their bills. So I'm like, my neighbors, what that got to do with me?
Right.
They're like, yeah, this whole neighborhood is probably going to go under, so we want to prevent you from being a part of that. So, yeah, I was like, whoa. And then the most shocking news of all, back in 2015, I found out my mom, who was 44 years old at the time, found out that she had stage 4 liver cancer.
Oh, wow.
And 9 months to live. And you keep saying what my company's name is. Wow. It shocked me. Like, I was like, what the hell? So, like, and she lived in Maryland. I had to get up and, like, go back. But God provided all the resources, in the sense of like, yo, I'm giving you money. Your job got to pay you with a severance package. You're going back. You don't have to worry about a job. You get to be there with your mom for the time being, and all this stuff, right? So I go back, and I'm there with my mom until she passes away. She passed away in 2 months. 45 years old, young, black, beautiful woman. Having, like, what? Cancer? What the hell? Like, out of nowhere. I have 2 little brothers. I have plenty of brothers and siblings just like you. But like, that was like, imagine working for something. Like, I remember you said you want to make sure your mom is straight. what do you do if your mom's not there?
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
imagine your whole life working to, like, I guess, take care of somebody else or live out a
Yeah.
dream, and then the whole reason for the dream just disappears.
Yeah.
Man, talk about a foundation being
Yeah.
rocked.
Right. Yeah.
Super freaking rocked.
Mm.
So I went through depression there. Like, stepdad, my second stepdad actually stole like everything from me and my brothers, like
Wow.
everything, paperwork,
Mm.
homes, like cars, like
Oh, wow.
money. Like, you know, my mom, he bamboozled my mom, like,
Uh-huh.
and it was just crazy. Like, I was just like opening my mind to like
Mm-hmm.
how marriage is. Like, what the heck? Like, yo,
Right.
you get access to all these finances, and it just blew my mind,
Yeah.
right? So I just told my brothers, look, we out of here. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going here. Y'all got to go here. And this is how it has to be. Like, we just got to start over. Mommy taught
Mm-hmm.
us skills, and we got to use those skills.
Yeah.
Then, you know, going through life, whatever. Now, this is when I start my entrepreneurial journey, because
Uh-huh.
I realized how important your story leads into your business. Like,
Yeah.
I had to manage my finances. I was like, yo, so many people would be in literally complete shock, and like their life would fall over
Mm.
completely if they didn't know how to manage finances in a situation where they have no job.
Right. Then that's real.
That's real. Like, not everybody
That's
has
real.
an entrepreneurial skill. So
Yeah.
when they have no job, what do? Like, you try and go get another job, but if you built your lifestyle off of making $5,000 a month, and then you down to $9 coming in an hour, it's a huge gap.
It's a huge gap.
Huge gap. And people live off of credit cards, most definitely, and loans.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, that stuff is real. Like,
Yeah.
it's real. Like, I've done it before.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord.
Yes.
And, you know, like, my friend asked me yesterday, why don't you use credit cards anymore? I said, I will never, ever use money that I don't have again.
Mm-hmm.
The only way I use money that is not mine is if somebody says, now it's your money because I'm investing in you.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I'm handing over this money, hoping that it goes well, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
fully aware that it could be
Yeah.
lost.
Right. Exactly.
Fully aware.
Give
Right?
it to me.
So, you know, I've learned so much in that time, and that's when my entrepreneurial journey started. But I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, I want to help so many people. Today, I came to the realization, I don't care about helping people. What I care about is helping myself, and through myself being helped, inspiring others to where they say, I need help too. And now I'm going to ask for help just like you did.
Yeah.
I don't know what I need, but I know
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go to you to
Right.
get something, whether it's inspiration, the financial information, tell me how you made the depression. I want to share my story, whatever it may be. I'm going to come to you for that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's dope. I got married 2017.
Okay.
To only find out my wife wants a divorce in 2018.
Right.
While she's pregnant with my kid. And
Uh-huh.
it shocked me so much. My wife didn't tell me why she wanted the divorce.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, what the heck is going on? Boom. So then I'm like, this kid can't be mine. There's no way this kid is mine.
Uh-huh.
And so from July all the way till January, I go with not knowing who this kid is,
Mm-hmm.
like, and all this stuff. And I'm like, yo, I still don't know. I'm not talking to my wife because she blocked me
Yeah.
on all social media. Don't talk to
Uh-huh.
me, all this stuff. Move out, like everything. And I
Mm-hmm.
was just like, my life went to shambles, another
Mm-hmm.
depression, another valley, right?
Mm-hmm.
Down in there. And it wasn't until literally this week, like I told you, I did the interviews. It was like, I need to get back to myself.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt like, I'm lost, this ain't me, I need to get back to myself, and I'm kind of living in a territory that is foreign to me and I don't like it?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
tell me
Yes.
about that.
That was when that's what I went through this year. So when CIW didn't renew their contract, and I couldn't figure out why. Right? I couldn't figure out why. I had a meeting with them. Everything was great, you know, services, all this other stuff. But leading up to that point, I realized that, you know, I was like, when I wasn't happy in the business, I realized that I didn't have, I lost my way pretty much. And so what I did was I had already told the team after the CWA contract's up, I'm wiping everything clean. I got rid of all the team. I told people in advance so they could prepare and do what they needed to do. And it was literally cleaning the slate and just starting back with me.
Yep.
Because I realized that I had been neglecting myself. I hadn't been listening to myself, trusting my instinct. I had given away so much of my power to everybody else, thinking like, oh, I'm being a good leader, giving you autonomy to do your thing, and just, being so stressed and so overwhelmed with trying to keep up with the Joneses, allowing people just to make decisions and just saying, you know what, that sounds good, let's go with that. And then I found myself in a place where I had lost my voice and my power. Now they're like, oh, well, we're going to do it anyway. No. Hold on, back up. And so I had created this atmosphere and this dynamic. And so I was like, you know what? This is ending at a good time because this needs to end because this is not where I'm trying to go. Yep. And literally I just wiped the slate and I said, now I'm going to be intentional first about getting me right.
Yep.
And like you said, it's that was actually almost perfect. Like I'm focusing on, doing what's good for me. And then out of that overflow, I can pour into other people. And help
there you go. Yep.
But until I have it, I can't pour. I'm not going to pour out my cup if it's not flowing over.
That's real.
My cup needs to be overflowing, and you can have my overflow, but you can't have my cup because my cup is for me.
Yep.
And when you said that was like, I heard it and it really clicked. But yeah, that's what I had to do. And so now I'm in the process of rebuilding slowly my team, getting the right people in place, the people that align with my vision, my qualities, my values, people that want to help, people that have the same spirit and like-mindedness. And not that other people from the team, you got to start that foundation all over. And so I just had to release everybody and then, bring people back, if they still fit or if they still were in alignment with it or not, no love lost. Hey, I wish you the best. I pray for you. I want the best for you, but is where I'm at right now. God can't use me broken. Well, he can use me broken, but my mind was broken where I couldn't be of good use because I wasn't ready. Yep. And so I had to clear out the clutter to get ready. So it's real. It's real, but you got to take care of you. You got to take care of yourself because you are the thing that is where everything is going to flow out of. The business flows out of you, right? The impact flows out of you. Like the ideas flow out of you. That's real.
This has been amazing. But I can't say it myself. I've taken a lot of value from you, Derek. Like, thank you so much for being able to participate. So how I end off every interview is it's like two things I ask. One is for feedback.
Yes.
Did you value it? Did you appreciate the opportunity? What I guess could have been asked, or what do you think could have been better? Like, this is so dope because you and we didn't know each other. Like, so
right.
I think we've done a great job of building some type of camaraderie on it and flowing together, definitely. And making it interesting for a viewer, ourselves, and then just like any feedback that you want to give, point blank, period. And then I know it was like what, an hour, so. Would you like to do it again? So you can answer that question first, because the feedback question kind of is more blah.
Right.
But
oh yeah, I would certainly do it again. I think there's power. Like, again, there's power in sharing your story, and like you said, there's so many sub stories that we have that can be of value. So I've always said, if I could use my voice or my story or my life in any way to inspire, help somebody else, and I'm always down. And I love what you're doing in your platform. And just like you said, like, there was so many connecting points in our stories that we didn't even know each other beforehand. And so building that, that camaraderie, that connection, like, anytime you need me, hey, just let me know. Right. So that's what I tell people, building that know, like, and trust, and just connecting people in your stories. Like, look, you got an advocate for life. So, hey, whenever you need me, hey, just hit me up, holler. So most definitely.
Oh, I appreciate that a lot. Like, this is just I feel that there's so many people who I don't connect with, and I'm just like, I know they got a story that I can resonate with in some freaking way.
Yeah.
I definitely got to step out and connect with them. So, I'm super appreciative of you sharing, taking the time out your day. I hope you got time back now and you get to use it as you use
Oh
it.
yeah, I'm good. Like this closed out my day, so I'm on a high. Like I said, I get like sharing my story and doing this is like my high.
Excitement.
It's like I'm filled. Yeah, it's good. It's good. So, and then I love the platform. Like I said, I love how the conversation. I think, it makes it interesting. It makes it interesting for the viewer. You create a comfortable dialogue where you can pull things out that normally wouldn't be shared in a more structured form. And I think it just speaks to your personality and then what you're creating. And so, yeah, for me, I mean, I love the format. I think the hour went by quick. It doesn't feel like an hour. It went by so quick. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, oh shoot, it's been an hour. Oh dang.
It went by so quick.
Yeah. So I love the platform. I love what you're doing, and it creates so many opportunities for you, right? This can be a podcast. This could be, your video. I mean, it's so many things that you can take and create this to be, and, and really use it to push your mission and your vision and your company forward. So yeah, this is dope.
The crazy thing is, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Like, in all honesty, like I just said, I just want to hear good stories. I just want to get to know people and hear good stories because it provides me that energy, that excitement.
Yeah.
And I'm like finding people that I can connect with. And it's like, wow, we connect on so many different levels that on a first appearance, you never think you'd be like, yo, like, I don't know if I really, and you that person is kind of intimidating or whatever it may be. Like, but now it's getting me out there and I'm like, yo, I talked to that person,
right.
Like, it's just so dope. So I don't know what I'm doing. And I guess I'll ask you in the future, near future, like, what the heck could you see coming from this? Cause I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
That's what I signed up for.
I see a lot of things. I see a lot of good things. Yeah. But no, it's good that you're doing it from a place of fun and you're going with the flow. And it's like you don't have this whole structure. How am I going to do this thing? It's like, you know what, this feels right. Let me go around this, and then the blueprint, right? The path will reveal itself as I continue to do so.
Correct. Those baby steps, baby. Like you shared in the beginning. Hey, I was here. And the opportunity presented. So
yeah.
Somebody say you got interviewing skills. I guess I do now.
Yeah, I mean, good ones, because it's great how you can, like you say, you go with the flow. So when questions come up, you automatically grab them and you bridge it in, and you share a piece and you share something that relates to you, and you bridge it in a way that sets it up where I understand what you're asking.
Yep.
And I'm able to then just dive right in and flow with it. And so it was I loved it. It was great.
Man, yo, I've been having so much fun with you, for real. So, all right, how I end off every conversation is that everybody's been able to share a message with themselves, because they're going to be watching this back, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be something that's a memory for them. So they share the message with themselves, but they're telling it to me. So some people are comfortable, like, all right, I'm talking to another person. I'm not looking cool by sharing a message. But you get to share a message with yourself, but you're doing it to me.
Got it. So what I would say is remember why you're doing what you're doing. You are stronger than sometimes you think. You're braver than sometimes you feel. You are more powerful than you will ever even really realize, and know that you always have somebody at your back. God has your back. He has your front. He has you on all places, and he'll use people, but you have to show up. You have to take action so he can then do what he needs to do. He's done it before. He's doing it now. He's going to do it in the future. So just continue to push, continue to trust, continue to have faith, continue to live out loud, to be you, to be bold, to be authentic, to be transparent, to share your story, and then all the things that you want, the desires, the abundance will flow to you, because you're creating a space for something to flow to.
Man, faith without works is dead. Show up, baby. Show up. Woo!
Yes, sir.
That was powerful right there. Oh man,
yes, sir.
That bad. That's gonna be what you wake up to every single day.
Right.
That clip,
right?
man.
Boom.
Derek, I'm so proud of you, man. Thank you so much for sharing.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
More times to talk.
Definitely.
You know, we are connected now. We get to stay connected. I'm all about being in great energy, great positivity, great environments. So, you know, I do travel. So, you know, love to meet you in person.
Yeah, definitely.
Dude, like, I'm looking forward to a great future with you. So,
hey, same here. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. Appreciate the platform. Stepping out there doing this. So awesome, man.
I still don't know what I'm doing, but okay. We're just having fun, man.
All will be revealed, right?
Yep.
Cool.
In the meantime, in between time, you have a wonderful, wonderful evening, weekend, and I will talk to you later.
All right, peace. You do the same.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.